First time I came to Ukraine, it was in 2012, which was an awesome time in Kyiv. It was just a couple of weeks before Ukraine and Poland were going to co-host the 2012 football tournament. So there was loads and loads of foreign tourists here in Kyiv. The atmosphere was really, really super. It just so happened that Sweden had drawn to play all three of their games here in Kyiv. You know what Swedish people are like. They're always happy and they love to drink beer, right? And there was maybe 30,000 of them, I think even more, 35,000 of them, in and around Krashatik. So there was just as many Swedes as there were Ukrainians, and they were just everyone was having so much fun together. It was awesome, really great time. A lot has changed in Ukraine in the time I've been here. From 2014 and into 2015, there was an awful lot of uncertainty. Also, people were scared. I mean, Russia had just invaded the country. This was not expected. They came in, they annexed Crimea, and then they sent their troops across the border into East Ukraine. And of course, this was a deeply concerning thing for people in Ukraine. Like this combined with the economic downfall of the collapse of the currency, I mean things were pretty grey really in 2014, early 2015, but there was really a change in what I saw was a change in the mentality of people. Everyone was despite all this negativity and all this bad stuff we were seeing in the headlines and this misinformation coming from Russia, and all the bad things that were happening, there was still this growing sense of ambition. There was a huge amount of patriotism. I mean, the Ukrainian flags everywhere, everyone with their blue and yellow ribbons, but it was more not just the patriotism, like the ambition of people, and they seemed like more determined to succeed. Like in the face of everything that was happening, it pushed them harder and harder. Ukraine received help from Canada, from Lithuania, from America, from the United Kingdom, and from a whole load of other countries. And of course, this was welcomed help. Thanks to the contributions that came from outside Ukraine, you combine this with all of the hard efforts of people, the local guys here. They pushed so hard for reform, and they pushed so hard to change their country. And then things started to change. There were these indicators that things were getting better. There were foreign companies, maybe they weren't ready to come and invest in Ukraine, but they were looking into Ukraine. They were looking at opportunities here. There was a lot of NGOs here that were looking at how they could improve the situation in the country, and these continue to this day. Now, where we are in 2017, Kyiv, living in Kyiv is of course wonderful, right? Both for the local guys that are living here. I think everyone loves to live in this city. I certainly do, and my friends do. People that are spending money. They're visiting bars and restaurants and enjoying nightlife again. So this is wonderful. So Kyiv is starting to, despite this dip which we had in 2013 in terms of the economy now we see it coming back, and this is wonderful. One of the things that I'm involved in here in Kyiv is Fryday. And Fryday is an international organisation. However, many people believe it's a Ukrainian organisation, and I think the reason for this is it was founded in Kyiv back in 2010. But the gentleman who founded the organisation, he's Swedish, and the head office of Fryday is based in Sweden. But it operates as a franchise in, I think, around about somewhere between 30 and 40 cities around the world Fryday is active in. Our main activity is bringing together international and local business professionals. So having been active here in Kyiv for 7 years, we've got a big audience. And this is made up both of local business professionals, so middle, top management. They could be the owners, directors of small, medium-sized enterprises, or they could hold a position for an international organisation. But a big part of our audience is made up of international expatriates and diplomats. We're not really interested in tourists, however sometimes they do end up at our events, but it's quite a small number. Really the international guys that are attending our events have either a business reason to be here. Also quite a lot of diplomats. So diplomats travel around the world on 3-4 year contracts, and those that are lucky enough to be living here in Kyiv are frequenting the events that we're organising. Over the last 7 years, Fryday has been active and continues to be active in different cities in Ukraine. Odessa, Lviv, Kharkiv, Dnipro. Also previously we had in Yalta and Donetsk, but of course for obvious reasons we're not conducting events in these cities at the moment. So each city requires its own representative. One of the concepts which is familiar to a lot of people is something called Fryday after work. And this takes place on a Friday evening from 6:30 to around about 10, 11 o'clock. And this event is really just a kicked back way to finish, everyone's finished work and they want to meet, they want to go out and have some drinks and relax in good company. In addition to Friday after work, we're regularly organising professional business networking events. So we work with a wide range of different companies, and also we work with a lot of embassies. So for example, we may invite the ambassador of, say for example, we would invite the ambassador of Sweden to be our guest of honour at an event. And this event would be, the core objective is professional business networking. The theme of this event, considering the ambassador of Sweden is the guest of honour, would be business relations between Ukraine and Sweden. And also the speakers that we invite to our professional events, they're not just ambassadors, we also invite Ukrainian guys, because some of them have been here for a lot longer than us, and they've read a lot more and they understand a lot more about these countries. Local experts have a huge amount of a wealth of experience which they're able to share with us, and this is very interesting. Recently we hosted an event which was a round table, so it was a panel. And the 3 guys on this panel were all local guys. None of them, they all chose to present in Russian or Ukrainian, so it was simultaneously translated, as a large part of the audience was international. But the guests that we had on the panel, they each had a wealth of experience in different areas. So one of the gentlemen, his name is Mykola Vernison, who's a journalist and television celebrity. The second panelist was, he's an advisor had been an advisor to Kuchma, to Tymoshenko, and a current advisor to Poroshenko. This gentleman's name is Alexander Savchenko. He's also the former deputy of the National Bank of Ukraine. So of course, you can imagine this guy has an awful lot of information he's able to share. In addition, he's a very well-read historian, so he was able to really pin what the current situation in Ukraine based on some of the history and his predictions for the future. And the third panelist, his name is Alexander Pashkaiva, and he's an older gentleman and has been held positions within the government and both the civil service for really from the transformation from Ukraine as a Soviet country into an independent state. When we assemble a panel like this, of course, the amount of knowledge of these guys is tremendous. So we had in attendance at the event I'm speaking of some 15, 16 international ambassadors or the staff of their diplomatic mission. Of course, these guys, they're here representing their country in Ukraine. It'd be valuable for them to learn information from these seasoned veterans of Ukraine. So the events that we organise, they can take different faces. But still, whether it be a Friday after work event in a bar, or whether it be a professional event with an ambassador or a key business figure, the core objective of Friday After Work is networking, is communication and socialising within a community which people feel comfortable with, but also provide some benefit to them. There are a number of projects I'm involved in Kyiv, but really Fryday is probably dearest to me. And the reason for this, I think, is because when I arrived in Kyiv in 2012, I came here and I didn't know anyone apart from the gentleman I was working for. And he advised that I visit Friday After Work. And I remember the event well. It was at the Fairmont Hotel, and I went to this event and I met the founders of the organisation. But not only them, I met people that I continue to be friends with to this day. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of other people in this city that will be able to say and share similar experiences. That Friday and these events and these things that we do through this organisation really do make a difference, that they really add value to people's lives and people's lives here in Kyiv. Now what we see in Kyiv is the interest from the international business community is slowly starting to build up again. In terms of the expatriate community here in Ukraine, I believe, as least based on what I have been told, that it reached its peak in 2007 and 2008. When I arrived in 2012, there was the expat numbers here. People told me were dwindling a little. Now, though, through 2016 and now in 2017, we see a lot of international businesses that are looking very closely at Ukraine. I saw some statistics recently, and now the third biggest export of Ukraine is IT services. And of course, IT it's a big industry, right? So there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are also showing interest. There's also people that are looking at property here. We believe that there is a very attractive investment climate here in the country at the moment. So there are different areas, whether it be real estate, agriculture, IT. There are different areas here in Ukraine which are attracting international interest, which is of course a great thing for Ukraine, and it's a great thing for us as well. So we're able to bring these people together at our events. So this is good. Ukraine is an awesome country. The cities here, the big cities, Kyiv, Lviv, Odessa, Kharkov, Dnipro, and then the smaller cities as well. I have over the years visited many small towns in different regions, and all of them have this charm about them. You Ukrainian people, you have this wonderful energy, this wonderful attitude to life.